What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for my annual year-end review where I look back at, all of my favorite cars that I reviewed here in 2022, talking about some of the changes to the channel here for 2023 and also some of the vehicles I'm most excited about to review in 2023. And so let's get into it here. I'm going to keep this pretty concise and short here. Top 10 of 2022. I'm going to start from the bottom and go up to my very favorite. So number 10 is the Audi RS e-tron GT, which was just an awesome vehicle for many reasons. It was one of the most expensive vehicles I've ever reviewed. It's also one of the fastest ones, having a sub 3 seconds 0 to 60 time. It was very, very impressive with its handling and everything. It was just a very, very cool vehicle, and so a special one to review here in 2022. Next up is another vehicle that's similar in its insanity, just in a different way, and that is the Hummer EV is number 9 for this year. And that was just another one that obviously having 1,000 horsepower is crazy, and a massive truck with mud tires doing 3 seconds 0 to 60. One of the craziest launches I've done was in that vehicle this year. Tons and tons of fun. It was also wildly popular. It got so many looks. Everyone wanted to ride in it. Everyone wanted to check it out. It just was one of those special vehicles that, stood out this year and was a lot of fun to review. Number 8 is one that many of you might not be expecting, and that is the Genesis G80 Sport. The new G80 Sport was a really fun vehicle for me personally because it was a really cool blend of an awesome Grand Tourer, super soft, comfortable ride, a really nice vehicle to live with, but also had like the 4-wheel steering, had the suspension setup that I wish the G80 came with originally, and just had so many wonderful improvements. And that video didn't get very many views, but it was hands down like one of my favorite vehicles this year. It was so good, so underrated and underappreciated in my opinion though. And anyway, so that is the number 8 video for this year. Now number 7 is the Nissan Z, and the Nissan Z is a vehicle that we've been hearing about for a long time, and it was a long time coming, and it finally arrived. And it was really a good vehicle. It's, even though I still think the Supra is better, it still was a ton of fun. It's great to see the Z make a return here, and a great alternative if you're not into the Supra. So that's number 7. Number 6 is the manual Supra, which is another vehicle, a long time coming. Everyone was wanting a manual. We were talking about a manual Supra coming for years. It finally arrived in 2022. It was awesome to drive. Wasn't the best manual out there, as I noted in my week with the Supra manual here. The gearbox isn't the best. It's a little tricky to be smooth sometimes and things like that. But overall, so glad that vehicle is available with a manual now, and would still be my pick, even though it's not a perfect manual. 100% would be my pick over the automatic, and so great to see the manual Supra come here in 2022. My number 5 most favorite vehicle of the year is the Honda Civic Si. The Civic Si just really impressed me. That was really at the beginning of 2022 where I reviewed that. I just got into a groove with the Si where it just was a vehicle I wanted to do grocery runs in it. I wanted to find excuses to drive. And when I don't get that feeling a lot, and when I do, I know it's a special car. And it's just a Civic Si. It's nothing wild or extravagant, but it's just a vehicle that I personally would love to live with. And if I needed, a little runaround 4-door thing, with a manual, and I didn't need all-wheel drive or anything, 100% Civic Si, would probably be my normal daily driver if I needed one. An honorable mention does go to the Honda Sport Touring hatch with the manual, which I also reviewed this year. Love that, just a little less power, no LSD, but a really great, setup as well if you don't care about, those couple of things. A really nice, fun little daily driver. And again, didn't have a ton of power, but you could really wring out that engine. It was really fun, great manual shifter, and another vehicle I'd happily daily drive every day with that Honda Sport, Touring hatch. And also, the Integra is another honorable mention. They're all kind of, tied there in that spot. But Integra, on paper should have been better than the Civic Si. But to me, it was a lot of fun. And if you have the extra $7,000 to spend over the Si, and you think you'd get some value out of those adaptive dampers, go for it. I just felt that the adaptive dampers could have done more as far as the adjustment to make it a little bit more impressive. But if you want a Civic Si, but you want a smoother ride and the hatch practicality, Integra is great. And even though a lot of people hated on the Integra, I looked at the sales numbers so far this year, and it's selling really well for Acura. And so it seems like it's a hit, at least with actual buyers. And so Integra is a great choice as well. I just personally don't think I would spend the extra $7,000 for the Integra over the Si, because I just had so much fun in the Si. I'm happy with the equipment level in the Si. 100%, I'd be totally good with the Si. But all 3 of those vehicles are really tied for that 5th spot, in my opinion. And so many great products from Honda this year, and so great to see that. The number 4 most favorite vehicle I reviewed this year was the GR Corolla from Toyota. Another one that we've been hearing rumors about, and it just had so much hype behind it that also the first reveal video of that thing doing donuts and revving and stuff was my most popular video of the year by far. It has I think over 450,000 views. A lot of hype, a lot of excitement. It was really exciting to go to the launch event for that, as well as also the debut for that vehicle. And unfortunately, I still haven't driven it on regular streets. We just did a little loop around the track and then on track driving, but still haven't had a lot of time with the GR Corolla. We're still waiting for the press vehicles to really be dispersed throughout the region, and so hopefully that will be one I'll get to spend more time with in 2023 to get a better feel of what it's like in normal daily driving circumstances. But it made a very good first impression, and I'm excited to find out more about it here next year. But still an awesome vehicle, manual with all-wheel drive, really taking the place of the STI, which also departed us this year. That was another big thing. That was the biggest news video of this year, was that STI cancellation video I did. That was a real shock, I think, for everyone in the community, and really sad to see the STI go away. But literally, weeks later, you had the GR Corolla come right in and take its place and give everyone the hatch with 300 horsepower and a manual that super fans have been wanting again, ever since 2014 or 2015 there. So great to see the GR Corolla come back onto the scene. My number 3 favorite video and vehicle to review this year is the Audi RS3. Another very special car with that 5-cylinder turbo, and that car really blew me away. I mean, I was expecting the engine to be really exciting, but it was also just the handling. With that staggered setup that thing has, with wider tires in the front than in the rear, gave it a real tail-happy vibe that I wasn't expecting. And I don't know, with that and then the torque vectoring rear diff, I mean, that car was just way more fun than I even imagined it would be, and really blew my expectations away. And is a vehicle, again, if I had the spare $65,000 to spend and needed an all-weather daily driver, and only needed that amount of space, you have a fairly small car, the RS3, but so good. And so hands down, that was my third favorite vehicle to review this year. So good. Number 2 is the Honda Civic Type R, which is another one that really surprised me. I expected the Civic Type R for this new generation to basically feel like the old one, just with the new interior. That's what I was going into it expecting, honestly. It wasn't a huge bump in power, same engine, for the most part and all that. But, getting in it and having the longer wheelbase and just the way they re-engineer the suspension and everything as well, it just felt so much better than the old one in most ways. I still think the ride is a little bit rougher, potentially. I have to spend a week with the Type R still to really, suss that out. But seems like, might not be quite as comfortable as the old one in the comfort mode. But aside from that, I mean, everything is just even better. And I thought it'd be tough to really improve upon the old generation Civic Type R, but they managed to do it, and that really impressed me. And that was just a ton of fun. There were just great roads for that launch event, great track time, enough track time to really get a good feel for it on track and stuff. Just a great event and just a great car overall, and another one I'm very excited to hopefully spend more time with here in 2023. But the number 1 favorite vehicle I reviewed this year might be a surprise to many of you, and that is the Cadillac Escalade V. And yes, I know it's an Escalade, but it's just an Escalade with a supercharged V8, 670 horsepower, whatever it is, and it's just this hilarious combination of it's unapologetically wild with, it has all-season tires on it, so they know that it's not some type of, performance handling thing or anything. It's all-season tires, but a massive engine, super comfortable. You have the amazing Cadillac Super Cruise available. You have, and basically, in my opinion, the best sound system in anything that's non-exotic. It is just the total package. If you want the wildest daily driver, if money were no object, 100%, I would daily drive one of those things, for hauling the kids around and, family around, things like that. And even my daughter, who's a year and a half, she loved it so much that she would ask me to do accelerations, and I'd stomp on it for a split second, and she'd hear the sound and feel the force of the acceleration there and the downshift, and every single time she got super excited. And, so seeing her light up with that passion that I'm enjoying as well, well was just really magical. And the Escalade V, she did that in a couple other vehicles where she enjoyed the acceleration this year, but that was, I think, her favorite. If, you know, I could kind of guess what her favorite might have been. She loved just riding in that thing, and it was just so much fun driving her around in that as well. And so it's a special car that really appeals to you from a very instinctual, like, baby level of intelligence, you know, of just like, it's fun, it's loud, it's fast, and it's comfortable. You know, what more could you really want, honestly? And so that is, believe it or not, my top vehicle of the year is an Escalade, but very well an Escalade at that. I also want to mention that I do want to give an honorable mention to the BRZ, the GR86, and even the Miata. I spent a week with all three of those this year, but I had already reviewed those previously, so they weren't new experiences in 2023. So that's why they weren't really like new reviews for me. So that's why they didn't really qualify. But all three of those, I love spending a week with them. Hands down, the best, you know, bargains as far as fun per dollar out there these days with all three of those. I'd happily own all three of them if I could. I mean, I love them all to death, and so they were really fun to spend a week with as well. A couple other fun observations here that I noticed in 2022 is, like I mentioned earlier, the most popular news video was the STI cancellation video. I do plan to do more standalone news videos like that going forward here. I found those do pretty well and make a lot of sense from a time standpoint for me as far as how much time I have to put in and for how many views it gets. You know, it usually ends up working in my favor. So I think I'm going to do more of those going into 2023. I will, of course, continue the weekly updates, but doing those standalone news videos, you know, especially whenever it's something really hot and fresh, and waiting until Friday would kind of miss some of that hype. You know, I think doing a video as soon as I possibly can is going to be, you know, beneficial for the channel. So I'm going to do that more this year. But yeah, so sad that the STI ended up being canceled this year. Was not expecting that. I was expecting to be driving, you know, a new STI on a press launch here towards the end of this year, and instead they canceled it at the last minute, and it's still a mystery as far as why, but that's a bummer. Also, like I mentioned, the GR Corolla revving video was the most popular video of the year for me, but the most popular car review of the year, believe it or not, you will never guess, is the Toyota Sequoia. The new Sequoia, hands down, far and away, was the most popular review this year. I think it's over 140,000 views. And that kind of reinforces my observations this year, because like last year, whenever I was making my plans for 2022, I was like, I'm going to do more performance stuff this year, because it seems like most people wanted to see more performance stuff, less of the, you know, boring, ordinary stuff. And so that was really my plan. And I think I did a pretty good job of focusing on, you know, performance stuff a good bit this year. I did do some more ordinary stuff where I thought it was worth taking a risk and, you know, trying it and seeing. And the Sequoia is just one of those things where that was on one of Toyota's HQ Confidential events that they call it, where they have a bunch of Toyota news all in that 1 week there in June. And so the Sequoia was just like a bonus thing. I'm like, sure, I'll review it. No one will probably watch it, but I'll review it anyway. And turns out it's my most popular video of the year. And that's the funny nature with YouTube is, and I've talked to other YouTubers about this as well, where we all just kind of throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. You try and predict what is going to be the best thing. And typically, you know, I can predict that, you know, if it's a sporty performance vehicle, it will do pretty well typically. But I've been so surprised by, you know, some of the stuff that I think is going to do the worst ends up doing the best. And it's just so funny how sometimes, you know, YouTube they always keep you guessing. You never know. And so it's really hard to really predict and plan, because it's really just a crapshoot half the time, unfortunately. And some other funny observations, like, for example, my Civic Type R video. You know, that video is one I expected to do really, really well. GR Corolla review, another one I thought would do really, really well. Guess what did better than both the Type R and the GR Corolla review? My CRV hybrid review. Even my Prius review, which I just posted a few weeks ago, has already blown the GR Corolla and Type R reviews out of the water from a view standpoint. Even the Lexus RX 500H, another one, I was like, well, like they're going to send it as a press vehicle. It just worked out timing-wise. I'm like, okay, sure, I'll take it. Not expecting anything out of that video. And then it's over 50,000 views in a few weeks. So, you know, it kind of leaves me clueless as far as what to do going forward, you know, because it seems like the stuff I'm expecting to bomb doesn't bomb, and the stuff that I'm expecting to do well, especially this year, I think a lot of people were so burned out with the dealer markups, and there was so much talk about the dealer markups that really discouraged everyone. And so I know a lot of people just quit looking at performance stuff because they're like, I can't get any of this stuff. I don't care. And so they just, you know, kind of lost interest in a lot of ways. I think I've been seeing, you know, a lot of us have been down on views as a result of that, just people just not being into it. And, so yeah, you know, it's gonna be, you know, a guessing game again in 2023. I think I do have some new things I want to try and see how they work. I think I'm gonna do more of the ordinary stuff on the embargo. So, one of the things, I do get invited to a lot of these manufacturer events. That is kind of an edge that I have over, other newer people that are just coming into this game that are trying to compete. So I think trying to do most of the embargo stuff a little bit more than I did this past year is going to be one thing I'm going to try, because all those popular videos I talked about were, posted right at the embargo basically. So I'm going to try and do more of that. So that'll mean more traveling probably a little bit this year, but I'm going to do, some more of that. And I think I'm going to be more picky about press vehicles. And, if it's something I can't do right at the embargo, and I can't get it from my press fleet for another 2 months, then I'm just not going to bother doing it, because it's just going to be old news at that point. And I've kind of learned that on YouTube, being first or one of the first is more important than what car it even is, honestly. So I think that, going forward, I just try and do the stuff I can, right at those embargo dates and stuff. And otherwise, try and do some sporty performance stuff. But otherwise, as far as the ordinary stuff goes, just going to skip it if I can't do it, right away. But I'm also going to plan on doing more used and affordable stuff in 2023. There's talks of recessions potentially and stuff in 2023. I don't know what the future holds. I'm not going to pretend to, know what's coming. But what I can say is that, a lot of people, don't have a ton of money right now, and people have been spending way too much for cars this past, year and a half or so. And I think as the used car market, it's already slowly starting to, come down and collapse a little bit. And as that crumbles, I think you're going to see some really great used values out there. And I think the used market's really going to be more appealing for people. And I want to lean into that. So I'm going to really focus on stuff that everyone can, reasonably obtain, stuff that's well under $50,000, affordable performance bargains, and get back to doing a lot of used stuff. That includes, I'm going to try and go back to doing more privately owned vehicles that you guys have offered me. I did do a few this year. I did an NB Miata. I did a 2013 Shelby GT500. And, one or two others here towards the end of the year. But I'm going to try and do more of that kind of stuff, do more traveling this year, or, this year coming up. I'm also, if you saw, I just did the Mercedes CLA 35 review from 2021. I did one of those at Harrison Auto Sales. And those of you who've been watching a long time will remember that's really how I did most of my reviews in the beginning there. And I'm going to go back and start doing some reviews there of some used, affordable, ordinary, kind of performance bargains and things like that, and get back to some of that stuff and get back to my roots, in addition to doing all the newest and hottest stuff as well, and try and do a nice blend of all of that stuff to just set me apart a little bit from all the others out there that are just doing every new car that comes out. I'm going to try and be a little different and do a lot of used stuff as well. So stay tuned for that. Also, other quick little things, I'm also going to be doing less of the interior reviews with Beth going forward. Those, just really haven't performed as well as we were hoping they would. And I've been kind of mixing up the format of the reviews here. So if you saw like my Civic Type R video, I had the interior portion towards the end of that video, and kind of front loaded the fun, as I kind of coined it in my own head, of trying to just make the videos more exciting, have the exciting stuff, the reactions right there in the beginning, have the fun stuff right there, and a little bit of a teaser, and just make it a little bit more exciting. Cut out a lot of the exterior talking and all that, and just kind of get back to hey, let's just get right into the car, start driving, have fun, and talk about the interior briefly later. But those interior deep dives, I thought that would be something people would be into. They're not, clearly, for the most part. And so I'm going to just be shorter and more concise with the reviews in general, try and get the time down on the reviews for the duration, so they're not these 30-minute videos you have to watch. I'm going to try and keep them all at least to 20 minutes, maybe even a little bit less if I can, but try and keep all that stuff a little bit more concise, be more concise with my speech here this year going forward, and just try and make videos that are still incredibly packed with information, and in a fun way, but without as much of my extra sentences and my verbose, descriptions of things that I sometimes get into. So going to try and be more concise here in 2023 as well. Lastly, I want to just rattle off the few vehicles that I'm most excited to review here in 2023 and that I'm most excited about. First, I think the top one for me is the Hyundai Ioniq 5N. Mostly because they're really trying new stuff with that. They're going to be trying some fake manual shifting in an electric vehicle. They're going to do fake vibrations and also fake sounds, and really try and evolve the electric car beyond just being like, wow, this is really fast, and instead be like, okay, let's make it more involving, let's make it more like a gas powered vehicle. And they're really the first ones to push it that far. So I'm really curious to see, how that actually materializes and what that's like. Another one I'm really excited for is the Integra Type S. I'm really excited for that, partially because it's finally going to be a Civic Type R without a huge wing on the back, without having to do mods, and it's also going to give you more of that luxury. And even if it is, again, just a Civic Type R with an Integra body on it and a few extra bells and whistles, sounds great to me. I'm excited for that. I'm also excited to finally review the Corvette Z06. I didn't get a chance to review it, here in 2022, unfortunately, but I will be hopefully reviewing that here next year. I'm very excited for that, and also for the E-Ray. That'll be an interesting thing and see how they do the hybridized, electrified V8, setup there. But I think the Z06 is just going to sound so much better, and it just be such a more special experience. So I'm excited for both of those, but more for the Z06 than the E-Ray, I think. I'm also intrigued by the 2024 Mustang, which I'll hopefully get to review this year if Ford doesn't hate me too much. We'll see what happens, but I would love to, test that out and see, yes, I'm not crazy about the styling still. I'm not crazy about the interior. But we now know that it's going to have more power. Hopefully we'll have some other improvements as well. And should hopefully be a nice evolution of the S550 platform as far as, performance goes. And just great to, again, see a new gas-powered Mustang sticking around, considering, Dodge is not continuing to do that here going forward and stuff. So very thankful that Ford has continued with that, and I'm excited to hopefully get my hands on a 2024 Mustang here next year. Last couple ones here, Chrysler 300C, even though that's a final send-off for the 300. It's just going to be fun to see the 300 with, more powerful V8 in it, and it'll be a fun one for sure. The BMW M2, I struggle to get my hands on any new BMWs that come out because they won't send me press vehicles or any press trip invites. So not sure when I'll get to review an M2, but I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a great little car. And maybe if I get lucky, that will be one I'll be able to review in 2023 as well. Lastly, I'll be curious to drive the Chevy Blazer SS EV that's coming out here next year. Obviously, the name is, kind of iffy and weird, but as far as the platform and stuff goes, it seems like it's going to be very promising on the Ultium platform. Should be a great competitor to the Mach-E, which, we currently own. And actually, it seems to improve on the Mach-E in many ways with, having things the Mach-E doesn't have. I'll be curious to see how it drives compared to the Mach-E and the Mach-E GT, which I got to experience this year. So that's another one I'll be kind of curious to test out in 2023. But anyway, that's it as far as my whole roundup here of 2022. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching the channel this year. Thank you all so much for your support. You continuing to watch the videos is really what keeps this channel going. And even though the views and the subscriber growth does continue to decline every single year, I just hope that I can continue to do this because I love doing this job. I love helping you guys find cars that you're going to love, and also just entertaining those of you who are just curious about, all the new stuff coming out. I really appreciate the support. I know so many of you supported also with the memberships this year that I introduced. So I'm so thankful to all of you who became members and everyone who supported in the live streams, which we were able to do more often here this year. I'll be doing more of those here, of course, in 2023 as well. But thank you all so much, for your support. And we'll have to see what happens in 2023. I'm hoping I can, again, continue to do this as my full-time job. But the views are at a point where they are actually lower than they were whenever I started doing YouTube full-time back in 2015. So that's concerning. So I may have to end up, doing YouTube part-time eventually instead if the views don't improve, but I'm hoping that the changes I'm making, the things I'm doing to try and improve the videos and the channel will help to reverse the course and start to improve and increase the views overall, and kind of stop this decline on the channel. But we'll have to wait and see. But anyone who watches the video, especially if you watch it all the way to the end, that always helps the video the most. But anyone who watches the videos and gives it a like and a comment and subscribes, those things really do help to keep the videos coming and keep the channel thriving. And so thank you for all of you who do that and watch all these videos and comment. And it's always great. I always read every comment. I'm always loving everyone's discussions, and being able to interact with all of you guys is just a lot of fun. So thank you all once again. I hope you have a great final few days here of 2022, and I hope you all have a very happy and healthy 2023 as well. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.